up, just believe and you will succeed. Put the hours in, and you're bound to win. New year, new me, no fear, just be everything you wanna be. Write it down, what you see, don't give up, just believe and you will succeed. Put the hours in, and you're bound to win.
Welcome back, fellow warriors, to the stage of history. My name is Cosmo Jazz, and today we're going to be going into what we think should be the next thing in the Resident Evil series. Resident Evil 5.
What do you do? Hey, stop it. Stop it right now. No, we're not doing this. Give me this thing. No.
Have the mic.
Give me the mic.
So anyway, what we should be really getting into is the top 5 DLCs that are becoming for Resident Evil 4. Because this game has a lot of life possibly going into it, and a lot of things that can be possibly corrected within the Resident Evil series. What do you mean by corrected? You'll see in the list down below. But, without further ado, let's get into the top 5 DLCs for Resident Evil 4. Quick disclaimer, I'm leaving out separate ways because that's already pretty much confirmed, and that will be a waste on this list anyway. There you go.
That hurts, you know?
Seemed like you really wanted to talk.
How observant, senor. Now, you got a smoke?
You know, those things will kill you.
Oh, well, maybe just untie me then, huh?
Number 5, Tales of Don Quixote. It's safe to say that Luis is a fan favorite RE character with a lot of lore about him. However, I feel that the character deserves a bit more than the info dump we get near the end of the game. And being that Ada gets her separate campaign showing all the things she's up to, I think it'd be a good time to do the same for Luis. There's even moments in the game I think they even hint at this being a possibility, meaning that it seems we can never get to him at the castle.
Luis, where are you?
Sorry, I screwed up. Come to my rescue, Prince Charming.
I'll show you charming, pal.
Come on. I'm in the ballroom past the courtyard. Don't be late to the dance.
It wouldn't have to be as long as Ada's one, but I do think that it would be nice to see a good send-off for him in this way for his unfortunate tragic past tale. Side note for me personally, I would love it if you guys could also do a separate scenario where he actually survives, you know, what if thing like you did back in Resident Evil 2 Capcom. I think it'd be nice. This is just me. I'm not adding it really to the list, just a little personal request. Number 4, Resident by Daylight. I'll preface this by saying this will probably never happen, but I think this would be a very fun and exciting thing to add to the game with either one of 2 options. I present here first the big one, which is what I'd like to propose as the Gauntlet, where you basically have to go after a bunch of bosses and fight them to your heart's content. This is where the Dead by Daylight aspect would come in, because you'd have an extra set of bosses, being the OG killers of the game, being Trapper, Wraith, Hillbilly, and Nurse. Each boss fight would have its own unique mechanics to them. To give you an example of this very same thing, one thing that has been added into the Resident Evil 4 lore is the Blue Flame. And I think this could be perfectly used to fight against the Nurse, maybe slow her down, and also make her vulnerable. I believe that there could be other mechanics too that could be used for, say, Wraith being invisible. I mean, they've already have the bugs that go invisible as well. So, well, they don't exactly go invisible, they really camouflage, but you get what I mean. And also, I would also like to say that it could be a lot of fun to be fighting these super powered enemies with your favorite weapons and your favorite character being Leon Kennedy. Now, like I said, this could be like not even close to being existing because of how much work this would have to be, all the contracts, etc., etc. But I mainly got this idea because of all the crossovers that Capcom has had with Dead by Daylight, including adding Wesker, Ada, Jill, the list goes on, let's be honest here. Now, that being said, the more realistic take would probably be adding some costumes to the game from Dead by Daylight into Resident Evil 4. But I still think they could add one extra thing to it, which is defeat the strong enemy side quest that could be, I don't know, maybe the Trapper being somewhere randomly in there in the game. I think that'd be pretty fun. Also, I would like you to keep that whole blue flame thing mechanic in your head just for a little bit as we bounce to another one of these. Wink, wink.
You know, I was thinking, we work well together, don't we?
I guess so.
Right? Maybe someday I'll become an agent like you. What do you think? We could protect the US from any and all threats.
Number 3. Name's Graham. Ashley Graham. This one I think I'll expand on in a shorter video itself, but I think that it's safe to say this version of Ashley is way better than OG Ashley. In the game as shown, she actually asked a couple of times if she could be an agent like Leon. I think thanks to the Mercenaries mode, this could be a very fun possibility. Yes, I am proposing that she become a DLC character for the new Mercenaries mode. Maybe you can even give her a special costume to kind of solidify all the things and whatnot, all in good fun. I would love it if she was also absolutely broken, which I mean, to be honest, with Hunk and Krauser being in the game, they're already broken in itself, so why not add her to it? Mercenaries is just a fun single player mode anyway, so go nuts with it. But yeah, I mean, that's not much else to say about this one. I just think it'd be hilarious to be playing what used to be known as the most useless character in RE history, I would say, and just go ape shit like on everybody. Number 2, The Hookman Cometh. This is one of the more for the OG fans of the series. Actually, I'd say even further than that, because this is partly a reference to an old build of Resident Evil 4 that never got to be played and seen the light of day. This build was extremely different from everything you see in Resident Evil 4, from the atmosphere to the camera angle to even the enemies you would fight in the game itself. And that's where the Hookman comes in, who, funny enough, was deemed that by the watchers and fans of the trailer he comes from. I think you can run into this idea for 2 different ways. 1, he becomes an extra side quest strong enemy you can face, specifically in the castle. 2, he can be his own special mode of him tracking you down throughout the game, like Mr. X. You may be wondering how you could stop such a being for what he is if you know what he is. But this is where I asked, do you remember that mechanic I was telling you about earlier in the video? Yes, the blue flames and the blue lights that you find in Ashley's the whole section. These things would be the thing to help you stop him, slow him down, and everything in between. Can you attack him via normally? I'll leave that up to the devs. But maybe, if they didn't want that, you could add maybe a napalm weapon to throw at him to use as a blue flame substitute. All good things and ideas I think would happen. Now, this idea to me actually came from a very small Easter egg that's actually in Ashley's section. And also the reason I think this would be good is just be a nice nod to what came before it, you know? So normally I would do a bunch of honorable mentions and things like that, but I'm actually on a time crunch. This video took a lot longer than I expected it to, unfortunately, but hey, I mean, this is a good video to make and I'm very excited for whatever the future holds for Resident Evil 4. But because of that, I only really have one honorable mention, which is to make the what if scenarios like I mentioned earlier with Luis. I'm thinking that they could use quite a few of the characters possibly mentioned, even though there aren't a lot of models for the characters that have been possibly mentioned with tragic backstories and stuff, but I think they could easily make the models if they really wanted it. But like, my candidates for those kind of things would be, of course, Louise, maybe Annabelle, one of the top researchers for Statler that unfortunately got turned, I almost said Minecraft guy, the mine dude that was a father, couldn't get back to his child because he was trying to make money doing everything in the mines. And if they wanted to get really crazy with it, I think it would be pretty cool, in my opinion. Maybe you could do one on Mendez before he has his big turn of events. You know, he is the village chief. He could be the catalyst to making things good before things got worse. Could be an interesting concept, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's my honorable mention for this time around.
So, you think BOWs actually exist? Oh, wait. You said you faced him before, huh?
This is my first mission with Krauser. He's a soldier with the U.S. Special Operations Command and has quite the resume of accomplishments in the field. But to him, after all he's been through, BOWs, cryptid, they're all the same.
Our guide is in a village up ahead. He'll take us to Empire, where Javier is hiding out. Come on, let's move.
Number 1, Operation Javier. This to me is the big one. The moment between mentor and student rivals. The thing about Operation Javier is that you can actually experience this now. But only if you're playing Dark Side Chronicles, which is only available, it seems, on the Wii, PS3, and maybe the PS4? I don't know, you might have to look that one up. But things are a little spotty on that kind of things, but it's a pretty great story if you ask me. Because it shows the relationship between Krauser and Leon, being that they are student and not master, but instructor, and also rivals. But it also shows the turning point in Krauser's life as well. Unfortunately, it's only locked behind a rail shooter, which we really don't have the means to really get to unless you're really into that old hardware. It's weird saying old hardware. But I think this is a perfect opportunity that Capcom can bring such a mode and things back. They've already shown they can do two entities playing with each other, being that we had Luis back in his chapter in the game. And for those Resident Evil 5 remake havers that really want the game to be having a remake very, very soon, this to be a possible demonstration of how the co-op might work in that game, for having co-op between Krauser and Leon. But that's also possibly a very long way away. Plus, let me be clear on one thing. I'm totally Team Code Veronica first before Resident Evil 5. It should have been Code Veronica first before Resident Evil 4. But, hey, it is what it is. But honestly, I think this is the perfect opportunity for Operation Javier to be available to us outside of old tech. And it would be a very welcome addition to Resident Evil 4 Remake. And that's it for my top 5 DLC ideas for Resident Evil 4. Now, let me know if you guys like these ideas, or if you have your own, let me know down in the comment section below. In all fairness, this is really just saying that I would like to play more Resident Evil 4. Any more Resident Evil 4 that comes around would be great. But yeah, thank you for hearing and all that good stuff. Take care, stay safe, and as always, let's try to kick 2023's ass. Later.
Wait,